Now, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome a special guest to the Agenda podcast, David Higgins. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, so this is, we call this podcast a sports adjacent podcast. We talk sports sometimes. Most of the time it's what I think Murray Duco described it as nonsense and claptrap.
Sounds entertaining.
Yeah. But for people who don't know, there's a lot of people out there. We get credit for the Blacklash. People go, man, you guys, that Blacklash is awesome. I can't believe you managed to pull that off. But it's you and it's Duco that have pulled off the Blacklash into its 8th edition next year. How awesome's that gone?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And frankly, you should get some credit for Blacklash. You've been an amazing partner that's helped put it on the map. Hot Spring Spa Pool. There's a great collaboration, and it was so unlikely. I was lying in bed 8-9 years ago, sleeping in on a Sunday after a bender. I get a call from Stephen Fleming, goes, mate, I just came back from South Africa and I saw this awesome concept. They had Proteas current former player Springboks, and we should do this in New Zealand and raise some money for a good cause. And I've always liked cricket, and I thought, why not give it a go? And I have to be honest, when we first did the rounds talking to media broadcast, people sort of scoffed a bit, and they thought it'd be a bit silly or unlikely, or would it work?
Yeah.
And, we had a hunch it could be a top-rating, iconic event. And a couple of the broadcasters asked why, and we said, you've got current and former superstars. Some of these retired players are bigger names, bigger brand equity than current players.
Yes.
Superstars doing something different out of their comfort zone. It's not like Codes where there's a game every 30 weeks of a year. So it's got scarcity, and it's going to be entertaining, and you mix that up, and it's going to rate. And TVNZ, to their credit, backed it enough in year one, and it was a bit of a coup to put it on prime time after the news.
You cut the news short.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, that's next level, because you think of the audience.
Yeah,
the biggest audience.
It took courage for them to do that, and in year one, it did 1 million cumulative viewers. And I think it's been number one sports event in New Zealand for most of those. 7 years, and it did a bigger viewership than Rugby and Cricket World Cup final because we're on free to air. And so it's become iconic. It's become like one of those Kiwiana sort of traditions now. And you guys have been wonderful part of it, and a wonderful commentary team.
Yeah, thanks. But it is how difficult. We'll get around to why you're here in a little bit. But I'm keen to ask you about the Blacklash, because initially, I think when you mentioned people scoffed at you at the start, I think that's because most people have tried to deal with the rugby union and the cricket, New Zealand cricket, and have not got far in terms of something new, and particularly something potentially with New Zealand cricket not under their control. How did you get around that? How difficult was that?
Well, I think obviously former players are within their rights to do what they wish to some extent, and obviously the timing of it is between a certain window where even some, say, current All Blacks might be free. But we don't want to step on toes and piss anyone off. Our approach is, to be honest, whether putting anything together like the NRL Auckland Nines or Blacklash, it's difficult. I actually make a list of people that could say no or kill it on a whiteboard, and then I think, how am I going to get them in the tent? And so in terms of the NZRU and New Zealand cricket at the time, technically, legally, they probably couldn't have stopped it, but we didn't take that. We thought, we'll, as a courtesy, before it goes public, we'll go to them and fully explain it and ask for their blessing, and we did. And Martin Sneddon and I went down to Wellington and had a meeting with Steve Chu and went through it all, and we took the same approach with David White at the time at New Zealand Cricket, and both said, hey, we appreciate you coming to see us. We don't see it as a threat. It might grow some interest to other it's codes, and you have our blessing. And so it was kind of bring everyone into the tent was the approach.
That's a good approach, because I can imagine that now it's become so big as well that they're almost like, holy shit, what are we doing wrong? Because every year it sells out. Every year it sells out, and you look at the cricket, not every Black Caps game sells out.
True. Well, they're not necessarily doing anything wrong. I mean, we're scarce. There's only one a year.
True.
And when the All Blacks only played a few tests a year in South Africa, it's all to do with quantity, demand, and supply. And the NFL is the most valuable franchises in the world, and I think they've only got less than 20 rounds. So sometimes less is more, sometimes by making it the product's scarce, you actually drive your TV rights value up.
Yeah.
And then when you flood, and it's all an equilibrium that I'm sure they're well aware of. And, I don't underestimate the challenge of having a weekly code and that much content and trying to sell out every game and make it interesting.
What I think the beauty also is, and I think this is where almost cricket have missed a trick a little bit, and I think where the rugby union played a great PR card in the fact that they allowed current All Blacks to play. So when Will Jordan played, I think one of the first years, Will Jordan played, Geordie Barrett played, Bodie Barrett played. You had current. It actually made them more accessible to a bigger audience seeing these current All Blacks play, and I think their equity went up. Whereas New Zealand cricket limited it. They don't let any contracted players play it, so you have to go for the retired players, which is fine because they've got their own equity. But I think in terms of the public perception and the PR battle, I think the rugby union almost a step ahead.
Yeah, I mean, but that, we treat every year as a new year. That might change.
Yeah, hopefully.
And so we're always going to reach out and try and put on the best lineup we can.
Yeah.
And the wildcard thing's getting exciting. Wasn't Chris Gale amazing this year?
My God, Chris Gale, he nearly ended me at the party the night before when he told all the crowd to get your titties out, get your titties out. So I took my top off and he went, not your titties.
I was sitting next to Chris Gale at Ponsonby Hotel, next to two English cricket-loving geezers who were travelling in their 30s. And it was the funniest thing. And Chris Gale was next to me, and I had a 10-minute argument with the English geezers that this was Chris Gale sitting next to me, and they were adamant that it wasn't.
That's quite good. Yeah, 'cause it's almost become part of the Black Clash, because I always get hit up, like, who's playing this year? Throwing suggestions at me, like, we should definitely get Andrew Flintoff. We should get, we should. He'd be great. Yeah. But it's just such a shame that poor Shane Warne departed this world, because I feel like this event was built for Shane Warne.
He loved it.
Yeah.
Stephen and I had a meeting with him in Melbourne at his house.
Yeah.
And he was going to champion something in Australia, and he loved the concept, and it's tragic.
Such a shame, because like every time you think of it, it's like, fuck, he would nail it.
Yeah, what a legend.
He would absolutely nail it. Anyway, we're not here to talk. We are here a little bit to talk about that, because I was keen to pick your brain about that. But it's hopefully it's back again next year. It's confirmed next year.
100%.
I'm not sure where it is. We kind of North Island, South Island, but
it's still up. Yeah, it's going to probably be North Island, but we're not going to announce where just yet.
Excellent, and we'll have the party zone again. It's one of the great days out.
Oh, it's back to the good old days when you could have fun.
It's like it's like the cricket is an excuse to have a party.
No, it's good old fashioned fun.
It is. It's great. Anyway, you are here to talk about something else. Now, not only are you responsible for the Black Clash, you're responsible for New Zealand's biggest one-day festival in Symphony. And if you haven't been to Symphony, it's world class. I've been to concerts around the world. It is absolutely world class. Takes over the entire domain. But you've got something else on the cards now as well for the more rock-based, metal-based fans. Now, what's that? What are you announcing?
Well, look, thank you for the compliment, Symphony. And Symphony's a breathtaking collision of classical orchestra music with electronic dance music.
Yeah,
nightclub culture meets classical orchestra, and it's going global. And thank you to Manuka Fuel and our sponsor. Yeah. It's become the biggest one-day festival in New Zealand, and we're probably end up doing 50 events around the world. Yeah. Now, I'm an old-school rock and roll and metal fan. Yeah. At a rocker, and people have been saying to me, you should do a rock metal version of Symphony, and I've sort of always wanted to. And it's been on the agenda, and we thought, damn it, let's give it a crack. And so we've created a new brand called Full Metal Orchestra, and the idea is inspired by the Stanley Kubrick movie Full Metal Jacket. Yeah. And so Full Metal Orchestra, we've trademarked the name like we did with Symphony. Yep. We've got a website, fullmetalorchestra.com, that goes live today. Yeah. And our plan is to establish it like Symphony and become a global thing. I mean, how many people out there love acts like, Metallica, AC/DC, Ozzy Osbourne, Soundgarden, Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, the list goes on, right? Those acts, some are still touring, but they're tailing off. And so we're going to, just like Symphony, we're going to cover those acts with the best, we think the best session band in New Zealand that we borrowed from Come Together. So we collaborated with the promoters of Come Together who do that series around the country, doing like Neil Young Live Rust and the Rolling Stones. And they've got Joel Mulholland as managing director guitarist. He's one of the best in the country. It's people might not have heard of some of these names, but these are some of the best musicians in New Zealand history. You've got Brett Adams as lead guitar.
Yep.
Matthias Jordan from Pluto as keyboards.
Yep.
Mike Hall from Pluto as bass.
I know Michael. He's one of the greats.
And Alistair Deverick on drums.
Yep.
And that's the session rock band.
Yeah.
But then with a full 29-piece orchestra. So and then guest vocalists. Yes. And there's going to be some big and exciting guest vocalists.
When are you going to announce those?
On.
Can I take a guess and you can say no comment?
Yeah.
Surely John Toogood's in the mix.
I was dreaming of John Toogood last night, and so
that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing.
We'll see. So anyway,
yes.
Full Metal Orchestra is going to cover, nostalgia, metal, EDM, hard rock, and some more current stuff.
Yeah.
Just like Symphony, but with a massive production. Now, here's the good thing. Symphony started at the Auckland Town Hall.
Yes.
This is going to start at Spark Arena on Saturday, July 26th at Spark Arena.
Yeah.
And it'll have a big production. Yep. So think screens and lights and
Well,
vision.
anyone who's seen Symphony, it's next level.
Yeah, and so we're really excited by this, and we think that it's got a global market, and the worldwide debut will be in Auckland at Spark Arena on 26th July.
But at the moment, you need to get to fullmetalorchestra.com and sign up for pre-sale today, You can sign up and grab, so you can get the first sniff at the tickets, which will sell out pretty quick because they're on sale, general sale on the 1st of May, I believe.
That is correct. Yep. Right now, you can go to fullmetalorchestra.com and sign up for pre-sale to get the first dibs on tickets.
And this is just an analogy I've got. My wife went to the first ever Rhythm and Vines. So, and she still talks about it. So to be the first it's just something you can skite about, because in 15 years' time, people are going to go, I went to Full Metal Orchestra in Vegas, and I was like, you know what? I went to the first one.
You were so right. Yeah. And so many symphony tragics come up. You get the ones that go, I've been to 8 symphony, but then you get the one that go, well, I went to the first one.
Yes, totally. It's a bragging rights. I mean, it's what my wife says to all the youngsters. They're like, I'm off to, and she goes, I went to the first. That was the first and only one. So, and a chance to see history here, Full Metal Orchestra. Go and register pre-sale because the tickets are on sale 1st of May. You'll get the first bite of the cherry if you jump on there and register. Shit, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to rock out with my cock out hard.
100%.
Hard in the front
So
row.
You're saying your cock's hard or you're going to go hard?
Both. You heard about headbanging? This is a different type of headbanging. Right, stick around, David, because I want to ask you, because every guest who comes into the agenda, we ask 22 and 2, which is a quick fire, 2-minute questions. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with 22 and 2 with David Higgins.
Thank you.
Rightio. Okay, this is quick fire. It's yes, no. Quick fire, we move on. There's no judgment, okay? David Higgins, this is your 22 and 2. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Sex or drugs?
Drugs.
Hard or fast?
Fast.
Would you rather wake up nude next to Joseph Parker or David Nika?
Joseph Parker.
Thai or Indian?
Thai.
Eat out or dine in?
Eat out.
Freddie Mercury or Elton John?
Freddie Mercury.
Wet or dry?
Wet.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Travis Kelce or Taylor Swift?
Neither.
Ali Williams, Stephen Fleming and Daniel Vittori. Who do you think's got the biggest downstairs?
Oh, shit. Flem.
What sporting legend would you bring back from the dead? If you could just bring anyone back from the dead.
I did statistics, Donald Bradman, just because there's no other person like it.
And so if the ceremony to bring back the Don resulted in you talking like Mike Tyson for the rest of your life, would you still do it?
No.
Okay. Have you ever fired a gun?
Yes.
Have you ever killed anything bigger than an insect?
Yes.
Who's the most famous person you've met? Do you think that people would go, whoa?
Oh, heaps. Bill Clinton.
That's pretty big. If you had a reoccurring dream that a snowman killed himself with a hairdryer, would you be concerned?
Yes.
If you were offered a knighthood, would you accept it?
Not probably.
What age do you think people say they've had a fall instead of falling over? Oh, I've had a fall, dear. What age do you think that starts?
When they're in decline.
So you say 70s?
65, 70.
Okay. Have you ever screamed, Google me, motherfucker?
No.
Okay. You'd be surprised how many people have. If you were going to get a statue made of David Higgins, what would this pose of that statue be, and where would you put it? Now, I'll give you an example. Tim Southey said he would be naked on a stallion, and it would be rearing up, and he'd put it on the front lawn of Daniel Vittori's house.
Oh, shit. I'd probably just have a private one at home.
Yeah, just a bust.
So no one can mess with it.
So just a bust of yourself. A bit like Sir Richard Hadley. He's got a bust of himself actually in his foyer of his house.
Did you model your mo on Richard Hadley?
I do actually. It's hard to get rid of it. It's hard to get rid of my mo. That's your 22 and 2, okay. David Higgins. Thanks very much for coming in. Get on to fullmetalorchestra.com. Pre-register now. It's going to be a fucking great time. And look forward to heading along to Spark Arena. Thanks for your time. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
The Agenda Podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.